That's what
I
got
don't think
me.
anyone's talking about this that I know of.
Well, this is why some people can't sit at a desk alone. They need to go to a coffee shop.
Can poor lighting actually prevent healing in healthcare situations?
We're structurally excluding people that have those kinds of sensitivities, which make it difficult or impossible to function in an average space.
Mark, I have to say I'm genuinely excited to talk to Stephanie Lee Jackson today.
Yeah, so am I. It's something that it's an incredible topic nobody's talking about. That's what
I
got
don't
me.
think anyone's talking about this that I know of.
I've never heard of it. Until we found her, I had never heard that this was a thing.
Sensory interior design for those who are neurodivergent or highly sensitive.
All the stuff we take for granted, not only in our homes, but in retail stores,
Restaurants, hospitals,
schools,
elementary schools.
Yeah. Nobody's thinking about the
Stephanie
design.
says that 60% of people are either neurodivergent or highly sensitive.
But she works with families
Right.
whose homes are not designed for the various neurodivergent people in the same family
Right.
that inhabit the home. She's
As well as
give us some good
neurotypical people in the
examples.
same family. So, I mean, it's just a fascinating conversation, I think, that
Yeah, because
we're about to have.
Who's talking about it?
So I can't wait to talk to her.
Her book is going to be called, when it comes out, The Eccentric Genius Habitat Intervention. It's about interior design for highly sensitive people. So
Yes.
we're happy to have her on the show.
Welcome, Stephanie Lee Jackson.
Thank you for having me.
What is sensory interior design?
Sensory interior design is creating a space that supports the nervous systems of the people who use it. It takes into account things like acoustics, things like smell, color, vibration, texture, and lighting, and tunes that for the nervous systems of the people who are using the space. For example, many neurodivergent people cannot create a visual image in their visual cortex under a fluorescent light. It just simply won't work.
So they can't imagine something?
They can't
see.
literally see if there's a fluorescent light. They can't focus on things because their brains are perceiving the flickering. And it can't track
Really?
and create an image on the visual cortex. That's an extreme case.
Mm-hmm.
More commonly, many neurodivergent people cannot track a conversation if there's ambient, chaotic noise around. Like if we're sitting in a cafe, it's nice and quiet in here, but if we were in a cafe and there was like rattling and there's conversations and there's music going on, many neurodivergent people can't filter out that ambient acoustic chaos in order just to track what we are saying. So many spaces are functionally inaccessible to people whose brains are neurodivergent.
That's a lot to think about for somebody designing a space.
It is.
And that's why they don't think about it.
Yes. It is easy and cheap to design a space for the average nervous system.
Yeah.
It takes a little bit more consideration, not necessarily that much more expense, but the time and the processing to design a space that's inclusive for everyone's sensory profile just takes a little bit more study.
Right.
And contractors and designers are not necessarily thinking about that.
Well, just for our audience, like before we get deeply into this, like what is neurodivergent and how is it different than highly sensitive and how are those people different?
Neurodivergence is defined as a difference in patterns of brain perception and processing. Your sensory receptors pick up data from around you. Your brain makes sense of it and processes it and then tells you what to do. A neurodivergent person's brain is going to be picking up more or different sensory processing data and prioritizing it in different ways than a neurotypical person. Neurodivergent is defined as autism spectrum. That includes ADHD. Some people include OCD in that. A highly sensitive person is not necessarily neurodivergent, but a highly sensitive person's brain is picking up more data and processing it more deeply than the average person's brain. So both neurodivergent and highly sensitive people can more easily become overwhelmed when too much sensory data is coming at them. It's harder to filter, harder to process, and harder to make a good decision in the right amount of time to get something done in that overwhelming environment.
Can I drill down a little bit on that? So if a neurotypical person, as you say, walks into a retail store versus a neurodivergent person, what would each see separately?
Yes. With the neurodivergent person, it would completely depend on them. Because if you've met one neurodivergent person, you've met one neurodivergent person. They're all very, very different. A neurotypical person has a brain that's going to be able to track and focus on what they want and narrow in on it and go to it. And they're going to be able to easily filter out anything that's not relevant to what they want. A neurodivergent person will not necessarily have those filters. Highly sensitive person will find it harder to filter. So if, as a highly sensitive person with maybe a highly developed sense of smell, if you're going to walk into a retail store that has a signature scent that's sprayed everywhere and then has a pretty loud soundtrack and has like a lot of displays that are very colorful, that's going to come like this tsunami of sensory information that's going to be, you're going to be using energy just to manage it. First of all, so you're going to get tired faster. And then you're going to have to find what you're looking for while filtering and processing all of that data. And by the time you find what you're looking for, your brain has made so many decisions, it's going to be harder to make the decision about what it is you actually are here for. So it's going to be draining. A neurodivergent person is going to have a similar experience, but depending on their sensory profile, some neurodivergent people are sensory seeking, which means they need more stimulation. It needs to be more intense.
Interesting.
Or there's going to be a difference in each sense in terms of whether they need more or less. So a neurodivergent person's experience is going to be very, very different depending on their own sensory profile.
So I find this fascinating.
Me too.
The seeking part. So you're saying some people, this is why some people can't sit at a desk alone. They need to go to a coffee shop. Or they need music playing while they're doing a task. There's not enough stimulation.
Yeah.
The exact opposite.
Exactly. The exact opposite.
Oh my God, that might
cannot
be me.
make assumptions.
That could be you.
I'm not the other.
Yeah.
But I never thought that I could be the seeker.
Yes,
I could
absolutely.
sit quietly, but I rather have music playing. I rather be at a coffee shop than at my desk at home. That's fascinating.
Isn't that crazy? Well, also I've recently found out that, ADD or ADHD doesn't necessarily mean that you can be very focused and have ADD or ADHD as well.
Hyperfocus.
Hyperfocus.
That is a notorious or famous aspect of ADHD. You're either easily distractible, but when you get into your own flow, you can hyperfocus.
Right.
So that's a superpower of people with ADHD.
Yeah. But you were saying earlier that about 60% of people have some sort of a high sensitivity, maybe not on a daily basis, but they have that. So why are spaces designed for neurotypical people?
We have systems which are designed to make things cheap and simple for the people building them. That's the short answer. That if you really want to make something tailored for a specific demographic and a specific activity, it takes a lot more research and a lot more decisions. And frankly, it's just easier to have it be the lowest common denominator, easier and cheaper. We're not building spaces with master craftsmen in a small place for a few number of people. We're building really big spaces for the masses as fast and cheaply as we can. And there's a time and place for that. But when we have an increasingly higher percentage of people diagnosed with neurodivergence, it's becoming more crucial that we start to consider how we're building our environment, because we're structurally excluding people that have those kinds of sensitivities, which make it difficult or impossible to function in an average space.
Wow.
I think it's interesting because I think it's more designed by the marketers than it is by people like you.
Oh, maybe.
Right? Like supermarkets, just as an aside, like supermarkets pump out the smell of cinnamon buns. They will put down carpets where they want you to slow down your cart, put down a throw rug.
Yeah.
Play certain music which makes shoppers linger more than other types of music. So it's the exact opposite. They don't care about the people at all. They care about designing the sound, the sight, the smell, the lighting, all of that to make money.
To sell more.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Bars are the worst. Bars intentionally turn up the volume on the music because if you have to shout, you're going to drink more. If you have to shout,
I love this.
I thought about this.
You're thirsty.
We talked about healthcare. So in hospitals, the lighting can affect people with
This makes me so
neurodivergence.
angry.
Yeah.
I have known many autistic people who died younger than they should have
Wow.
because the comprehensive wear and tear on their immune system from coping with all of this sensory stuff.
Yeah.
Just, their body broke down at an early age. And this happens mentally too. I have had many close friends who were on the spectrum, realized it in retrospect, that in their 50s they went into something called autistic meltdown, where they just stopped being able to function at all. Just went from being like really, really productive, like superpower overachievers, to just not being able to get out of bed, not be able to make a decision, not be able to function. And when they went to the doctors and got like a neuropsych overview, turns out that they were undiagnosed, high-functioning autism spectrum, and the amount of energy it takes to cope in the world when you're masking all of this extra sensitivity or differences that you've got to kind of navigate, at some point your brain just breaks down and you just can't anymore. And it's a physiological breakdown. I have had multiple.
Did you know this?
No. That's crazy. It seems like a tall order for any, take retail store, hospital. Hospitals, maybe there's some low-hanging fruit there, but take a typical retail store. It seems like a tall order for them to design with everyone in mind.
Is it though?
So sights, smell, color, sound, texture. I'm trying to think of everything you rattled off in the beginning. That's what if even in a family you could have people that are sensitive to all different things.
Oh, yes, and that's what I do.
Okay, let's get into this.
Sensory boundaries for different neurotypes is huge, particularly in a family.
Perfect.
I mean, with a store, it's easy because you have a clientele. You design for this clientele. If you're a sound system store, you design for sound geeks. Yes, you'd have acoustic baffling. You'd have the systems. That's easy. When you have people of multiple neurotypes having to work or live together, that's harder.
Right.
You need to designate spaces for different activities and different people. For example, I'm working with a family right now. Mom has ADHD. Dad is a coder, works from home. Son is 5 years old, on the spectrum, sensory seeking, very loud. Daughter's 4 years old, neurotypical, very sweet. Their new house has zones for each person, each neurotype, and each activity.
Whoa.
They're moving from a 1-bedroom to a 5-bedroom, not before time, because having those 4 different people piled on top of each other in a small space was really stressful for all of them.
I'll bet.
But we have family areas that are brightly colored, that are made for activity and interaction and all kinds of sensory input. We have sleeping areas that are intentionally designed to induce calm with the color and the lighting. There's two rooms that are darker. I said, okay, those two are the bedrooms. And then the office is brighter but calmer with acoustic baffling, so that the circadian energy, the lighting is going to induce wakefulness and productivity, but then the sound baffling is going to reduce sound input for focus. And then the primary bedroom is calming.
How did you get into this?
Yeah.
How do you even know how to do this?
I got into massage because I was interested in helping people heal, alternative healing. And only about 2 years in, one of my clients said, Stephanie, I just love that painting in your studio. Would you do something in my space? I want you to do my staircase risers. And I said, no, I don't make art anymore. And she said, well, I'll write you a check. I said, I do that.
Funny you mentioned that.
That's hilarious.
Yes. So I started turning the business skills that I had learned into like, oh, I love doing this. I love creating for specific people in a specific place. And so I realized I had this superpower, which was understanding how to make a whole space create the vibe you wanted. And then the neurodivergence part came because I love quirky people. And it turns out that I've been befriending neurodivergent people since the age of 6 or 7, just because they're interesting.
Yeah.
And I became an accidental expert.
And you have a book coming out this year.
I have a book coming out
What's it
this
called?
year. It's called The Eccentric Genius Habitat Intervention. Interior Design for Highly Sensitive People.
Ooh, groundbreaking.
And people can get it and sort of audit their home and say, is this really good for me? Or my kids, or my husband?
Yes. It takes you through your own nervous system, one sense at a time. And I go into how your nervous system works. I go into neurodivergence. I go into executive function and emotional regulation, which is how your brain relates to the world around. And then I take you through each sense. There are more than 5 senses, and I go into that too. But with each sense, I give you an assessment for understanding how your brain processes that particular sense. And then I give you some things you can do right now in your own space, and then next month in your own space, and then someday in your own space. Because we can't change it all at once.
Right. Why is Febreze evil?
We've been dying to know this answer.
Because it does not neutralize the source of the odor, it just masks it. So all of the things, for example, that make ammonia bad for your respiratory membrane, still there. You're still breathing the ammonia. Febreze is just telling you you don't.
And the other thing about that I was going to ask you about is when let's say I'm looking at one of these bookshelves behind us, and you know this, because when I build a set, if there's one thing that's that I feel like shouldn't be there, it's disturbing for me.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Which is
Yes.
disturbing for me to watch.
Right. So I think it's disturbing for people to watch who are not, who are neurotypical. But I do think I do have.
You're just a perfectionist when it comes to this.
Well, but
I
also I think it's just if it's not spatially right, or if it doesn't, even the colors.
Right.
Even
yes.
So I think I identify.
I'm one of those people that arranges bookshelves by color.
Oh.
And I was a librarian. This horrifies librarians, but you learn things about the publishing industry when you arrange your bookshelves by color. But a bookshelf is a visually very, very overstimulating thing.
Yes.
Particularly when the books are all different
when it's chaotic.
colors. Yes. So my bookshelves are arranged first by subject and height, and then each shelf is arranged by color. I do this for my clients. I go in and they're just like, okay, we'll let you work your magic.
That would be so fun. It would be so fun for me. I would love that. Or or a mantle, like a fireplace mantle.
Yeah.
I can work on a fireplace mantle. This is embarrassing. like hours and hours, like this over like an eighth of an inch, this over like you know what I mean?
But it's something you feel.
Spatial,
right?
Absolutely.
I don't think that's something you learn.
Like
that's just
sisters
you
from another
feel
mister.
it. The
You
energy's
feel it.
off if it's not where it needs to be.
That's what it is. So I think
I feel that.
maybe why I really vibed with you as coming on as a guest, because I'm like, this is so fascinating to me. But that's cool. Yeah.
Well, the end result is always awesome. So trust the feeling, right?
I mean, is it though? I mean, it's like, you know, I'm sure some people would look at that and be like Eric.
Well, if that plant was an inch to the right, I don't think it would have the same vibe.
Right. But so Eric will put maybe like 3 different size things on a shelf and just, that's it. And he doesn't think about it.
No.
It is what it is.
Oh, no.
I'll be like,
Yeah,
what's your choice here?
Is that your way of saying I hate this?
And we're
That's
doing
hilarious.
complex math in
going
our
for it
head
here?
when we're doing this. It's like, no, the physics of this are not
And we
quite
stand
right.
over there. For our audience, either for someone who might walk into a space and feel uncomfortable, or someone who wants to make people feel more comfortable, what's your advice just for the average person before they've read your book?
Trust your own body. Really get in the habit of trusting your feelings, and your feelings are emotional, but emotional feelings are also physiological. If you say, okay, something doesn't feel right, stop, scan your own body sense. What's going on in my body here that's making me uncomfortable? If your body is giving you cues, your nervous system has picked up on something that says danger. And that is also true with the sensory aspects of the room. If you're just like, yeah,
Right.
my head hurts, like, what's going on here? Oh, I smelled something. Oh, I mean, those things are kind of obvious, but there are more subtle things. Really tuning into your own body. If you feel like your heart is thick and clenching, just like, what's going on? What's happening? Your body will give you an answer.
And you're saying 60% of people experience some sort of highly sensitive neurodivergence.
Something.
So there's more people that experience that than
don't.
So wouldn't it be time to at least figure out, like, is there a neutral? Maybe you don't have to change everything, but can you? And this is for
some easy
homeowners,
fixes.
this baby homeowners too, or whatever, who just want to make their house welcoming. What would that be?
I have some 5 principles.
Ooh, yeah.
If you
Get the
get
5
on my
principles.
website,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
you can just, basically a sensory cheat sheet. Just go through the 5.
Give us a few.
Light, sound, texture, visual, overwhelm, and air quality. So things like with lighting in your house, contractors love to put those recessed lightings with the bulbs pointing right down. Those are awful. And that's considered standard issue and even high end. If I could just convince the majority of contractors to start installing lights that reflect off of surfaces where the bulbs are pointing up and reflecting off the ceiling, or they're like sconces, or filtered shades, that's huge. That's going to affect a lot of people.
That's wild.
And with restaurants, if they could just stop with the industrial conversions with no noise buffering, you can do a nice brick wall, but for the love of all that is holy, put some sound baffling on that brick wall.
Is there a color light that's better than another light like that? We have
Most
like a white light here, but we
artists
have like a warm light there.
prefer warm.
Okay.
Most sensitive people prefer warm. You can use the full spectrum daylight for task lighting that points at a surface that you're working. It's much easier to cope with full spectrum if it's like, okay, I need this because I'm drafting, I'm doing surgery.
Right.
Have the bulb be physically below your eyeball, pointing at your work surface. A full spectrum light that's up here is going to be, it's going to be really hard. So filtered, indirect, layered lighting, focused, bright task lighting is preferable.
Now that is some damn good advice.
That is. Well, this has got to be really rough lighting.
This is rough.
Right?
Yeah.
It is.
So never have this in your house.
Well, no one's going to have that
Please
in their
no.
house.
Well, not that.
No.
Can't fit that in our house.
You're not going to put that in the house. It's for so we can light the set.
Is there a color that you should kind of stay away from? Like really bright, loud,
like
bold.
like red?
No. It's entirely individual.
Got it.
Colors are relative. They're relative to the context. They're relative to the lighting. They're relative to the natural light, which means they're relative to your spot on the globe. And they're relative to what's next to them. So any color can work. It's just about the context. So yeah, I don't say avoid any colors, but I could go on for days about color, and the chapter on color in my book is the longest because I was a painter for so long. Right. And it is such a rich topic, and it's experiential. So really with colors, it's really about using the color and noticing how you feel in your body when you're interacting with that color.
Right.
Yeah. Is no smell or no aroma better than a good one?
Oh. The good one is so subjective, right?
Start with none. Yes, the good one is subjective.
Right.
Start by getting it neutral first, and then you can start adding it in. And that's also experiential and also very personal.
There's just so much more to this. I'm looking forward to reading your book, but how can people get in touch with you? And if people have questions, which I know they will after they watch this.
They can go to my website, practicalsanctuary.com. They can get on my mailing list. They can schedule a video Q&A if they want to have me talk with them about their space and if I could help with that. And if they're on their mailing list, they will get advance warning of when my book launches.
When do you think it's coming out?
Should be September 5th of this year.
Wow, it's coming up.
So exciting.
Yes, I'm in the proofing stages. It's a lot.
Well, you have to come back when your book comes
be wonderful.
out. Yeah.
And one more time, the title of the book.
The Eccentric Genius Habitat Intervention.
I love it.
Interior design for highly sensitive people.
I love it. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.
And thank you guys for watching. As always, we do appreciate it. We'll see you soon.